Hey, sports fans, Larry Eater here. This is our new collaboration, Brooks on Running. And today we're with Kayley DeLay. Hello, Kayley.
Hi.
Now, where are you right now?
Oh, I am in my parents' house, my childhood bedroom, in Florida.
Oh,
So
cool.
nice
Where
to
in
be back
Florida?
home. Jacksonville Beach.
Oh, nice. Yeah, one of my buddies just got, he works for that Go Ruck company and he just got moved down there. And he was
Oh,
talking about
nice.
how much he likes to do the running there. So, now is that where you grew up?
Yes, this is where I grew up, born and raised in the same house
Yeah.
and everything. So
Oh, that's
it's fun to be
cool.
back. Yeah.
Oh, that's neat. So, how did you get first involved in running?
I played like so many sports growing up, like many people, but my parents both ran in college at FIU
Oh, wow.
down south of Florida. So definitely grew up with parents that knew about running. And yeah, I think they like, didn't like pressure me to become a runner or anything, but I did have like a little bit of a knack for running in the other sports. So I wasn't really good at I played soccer for a while. I was okay at that, but the best part in every sport was the running. So once I got to middle school, I joined the track team and then continued doing it through high school and then eventually stopped playing other sports by like freshman year of high school and just went in on running.
Where'd you go to high school?
I went to Fletcher High School. It's like less than a mile from where I live, so went to the local high school.
Big school, little school?
Big for a Florida public school. We were, I think the divisions have slightly changed, but we were 4A, which is like the biggest division.
Okay.
So I think it was 500, 600 kids per grade. So not insane, but it
Yeah.
wasn't like a small school by any means.
Um, in high school, what did you like more, cross country or track?
Cross country. I still stand. I love cross country.
Oh,
So
cool.
yeah.
What do you like about cross country?
I love that it's just like pure competition. There's no like sure there's times, but they're sort of meaningless. Like
Yeah.
people always talk about like I ran this time on this course and you can compare like if you know the course, but times are kind of out the window and you're just like you're just running and I kind of love that. You don't know how fast you're going or anything. You're just racing the person next to you and I think it's hard to do that in track because you can try to look away from the times or try not to hear the splits, but you constantly have like a marker of how fast you're going, how far into the race you are. And in cross country, you're just like, you don't really know most of the time. Like, so I kind of like that.
What were courses like in Florida? Did you actually have hilly courses or was it all pretty flat?
Yeah, when you grow up in Florida, if there's any little hill, you think it's hilly. So I think when I think back to it, I'm like, okay, yes, they were all pretty flat. But our state course was the course at FSU,
Okay.
which NCAAs have been at and World Cross Champs are going to be at this year.
Yep.
And there is like a decent hill in it. And we would all refer to it as like the wall. Like that was like the really big hill. So it's kind of funny, like it was pretty much flat courses up till like states. And then that course is like to us hilly. I
Yeah.
don't know if other people consider it hilly, but to me it's hilly. So it made it like challenging in a different way.
Um, how many times did you qualify for state?
I qualified every year.
Cool.
Yes, yeah. I think it was our team was so close to qualifying most of the years, but I think only I did. But we went to like pre-states, which was like, where you get to go run on the same course. So
Yeah.
sometimes in my head I feel like I confuse that meet with the state meet. But because I can remember my team being out there together, but I'm yeah.
How'd you do in state?
I got second um 3 times,
Wow.
I think. I like really should fact check myself. But I got second at least twice, I think three
Okay.
times,
We'll
which was a
double check it for
frustration.
you. Well, when we do the whole posting and everything, we'll make sure we have your stats in there. So
Oh, perfect. Thank you. Yeah.
we'll
I'm
check
pretty
that.
sure I know I got second multiple times because, I really wanted to win and I never got the cross country win. So
Now, tell me about track and field in high school. What events did you do, and how did that go?
yeah, I mainly did the mile and the 2 mile, and then at like the conference level and down, I'd also do like the 800 and we do the 4x8.
Yeah.
But once I got to like regionals and states, I would just do like the mile and the 2 mile. And I was like slightly better at the 2 mile, I'd say. The only state title I got was I won the 2 mile or 3,200, I should say, 3,200 my junior year.
Oh,
So
cool.
Yeah, which was really exciting. And yeah, I think I got like a handful of like second and thirds in the 1600 and the 3200 over the years, but one win. So
What was your best 800 in high school?
it was 218, 217. It was 217 or 218.
And what about
Um,
your best mile or 1600?
I ran 456, 1600, and then 1030 was my 3200
Oh,
time.
that's
Yeah.
pretty darn awesome. Uh,
Oh,
Now, when you went into college, um, so you went to Yale. What was the biggest change for you from going from to college, from high school to college?
yeah, I think like in terms of just like running and the team
Yeah,
and everything. Yeah. Yeah, I think, I Fletcher had a really small cross country team. We were really good at like swimming because we're really
yeah.
close to the beach. So it was really hard to get people on the cross country team, which was unfortunate because it's like such a good sport that so many people can do at the same time. But cross country and track, I should say. But so I didn't have like a ton of teammates. I did have my teammates that I ran with and whatnot. But once I
Mm.
got to college and having like a team of like a ton of people that were like way better than me was different for me. So like adjusting to just like, getting thrown into it and like trying to keep up with the older women, like that was a big change and one that I really enjoyed, but it was just like, an adjustment period. You go from being like the best on your high school team to like just in the mix in the college team. And I think I was fortunate to like let that motivate me to get better and work with like just keeping up with them to like being able to work out with them. So that was probably the biggest difference I'd say, like coming in freshman year.
How was the academic change?
Oh, it was tough. It was a big adjustment period. I think I definitely had some imposter syndrome my first year. It took me a while to be like, okay, no, I belong to be here and whatnot. Like you're
Sure.
surrounded by so many brilliant people that have done all sorts of things to like get them to Yale. So it was like very like intimidating, like meeting so many of my classmates, and then kind of realized that, like it's just like anything else. You learn your routine, you learn how to succeed in the setting that you're in. And I think it just took me like kind of my first year to figure out like better. I had pretty good time management skills until I got to college, and then I realized they could be better. So I think took me a while to make that adjustment. And yeah, each year in school I did a little bit better because I just kind of figured out, how to manage my time better and what worked for me. So big adjustment period though. So
What was the from high school cross country to college cross country? What was the biggest challenge for you?
Um, the first thing that pops into my mind is dealing with the weather. Like I
Oh,
hadn't ever run in like really cold weather, and our regional meet 3 years in a row was in Buffalo, New York, and it like
oh my,
snowed one year. They
yep.
moved it to the roads one year because the weather was so bad. It was like, and that was like a whole other, like, I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready for that. But that was probably just also an adjustment in general. Like when you're from Florida and you have to experience winter for the first time,
Yeah,
well, it's a little much. But yeah, I think also similarly, just like getting thrown into the mix of not just the team, but like when you're racing a ton of people. Like I went to like Nutty Comb
sure.
and some of those other big invitationals, and you're just like swarmed by people. Like you could be in like 40th place or like 200th place, and it's hard
Yeah,
to tell like at some point. Like,
yeah.
um, and I think it took me a second to kind of get a grip on like how to race those meets. Like it's hard when there's so many people around and you're passing people and people are passing you, and you just like it feels like a blur. So I feel like getting the hang of that too.
Now, in college, did you have any experiences with indoor in high school?
No, no, yeah, no, no indoor track. I hadn't been to an indoor track since until I saw like Yale was actually my first college visit and my first plane ride ever too. So it was like
Wow.
really eye-opening to go. And so yeah, the indoor track was a whole new thing. And I really like indoors. I think um it's similar but has its own little differences. And you feel like you're running so fast because you do so many laps. I like it until I have to do a 5K, and then I'm not really into it. It's too many laps. But
You've run at BU. So you
Hmm.
run some fast times there. I think you have your 3K PB there. Is
Yeah, yeah, from this past year, yes, yeah.
what makes the BU track so special?
What makes the BU track so special is the fact that I don't know what the track's made of, all that stuff, but it's the mentality around going to BU. People know that people have run fast there, so you're prepared to run fast when you go there. And I think that like speaks volumes. Like so many people go there and run fast times. Like, no, it's not guaranteed, but when you're like going prepared to do that, I think something magical happens and it happens across the board. So I don't know, something to say about like the mindset people have like collectively too. You're like seeing your competitors and you're all like, let's all run fast. So I think yeah, that happened in college. We went to BU so many times. And also like now I've gotten to run a few times as a pro and not all of them have gone well, but yeah, every time I go with the idea that like it's kind of like a time trial and I just want to run fast. And sometimes it works out and sometimes it doesn't.
When you ran outdoors at Yale, what events did you do?
I mainly did the steeplechase. I got to race. I didn't do the 5K until my senior year, but I did do a 5K and a 1500 my senior year. And I think I do like some 1500s as like kind of races for training in between steeples, but I primarily focused on the steeplechase.
What do you like about the steeplechase?
I always say it's the cross country of track. It's
Oh,
like the one that's like, slightly more interesting than just running in circles.
sure, sure.
And yeah, I don't know. The steeple didn't choose me. I chose the steeple. Like I got to college and I was like, I want to do the steeplechase. They don't run it in Florida, but one of my teammates, her father is still the coach at UNF, and he had us like come over a few times and practice jumping hurdles, and I got to do like some 2K race. So I knew when I got to college, like I wanted to do the steeplechase just because it seemed fun more than anything. I was like, that looks just interesting. That's what I want to do.
The the s- the steeple for women has been around since the early 1990s. And I remember it was in 1991. I put on the cover of American Track and Field, one of my magazines, um, a woman steepler. Her name was Carla Borovica. She was a really good 5,000 meter runner. And I got hate mail. And I remember one of the letters specifically saying, Larry, you just put a woman steepler on the cover. What's next? A woman pole vaulter. So I put a woman pole vaulter on the cover. Um, but it's a fascinating event, and you've got real wheels. I mean, you've run 404 for a 1500 and 1507 for a 5000. So you could have chose one of those events. What is it? Um, are you still in love with the steeple?
Yeah, so back to go what you just said about the covers. That's awesome. So kudos to you for doing that.
It
Like,
was fun. Yeah, well, it's just like we would, you'd go to events and you knew that we were always really careful about making sure we had distance cover, a sprint cover, a jumps cover, and a throws cover, each year because
Yeah.
we did it quarterly. And then we wanted to make sure we covered women well. And then and these new events were coming out. I mean, the pole vault was hitting, I think in 92, the record was about 13 feet. So think about it, where they're at now, right?
Yeah.
But so it's really, and then I believe the steeple hurdles for women were a little lower when it first started, when it
Oh,
was
really?
the exhibition event. Um, but it's been interesting to see the event grow. And I was just in Tokyo, and I watched three women go under 9 minutes, and that just blew my mind. And you think about how fast. Now you've run 9:28, correct?
Yes, yeah. Recently, 925 is my PR from a
Oh,
few years
cool.
ago.
Nice.
Some my elusive PR that I haven't broken yet. But yes, to answer your question, um I still like am totally set on, running the steeple, but maybe in a slightly different like this year we didn't focus on the steeple and I ran one at the end of the season. And that's when I ran like I did run a 1500 PR this year and ran a
Nice.
good mile at Fifth Ave. So I think now the decision of doing the steeple primarily is a little bit harder of a decision because I trained more for the 5K and saw
Yeah.
some success with the 5K and the 15. And I ran in my second best time in the steeple. So Danny and I have talked about it a little, but we haven't quite decided. Like, I really like doing different events, and I know there's something about specializing, but I find it just, I don't know, I really like doing the different events and mixing it up and seeing what I can do in different things. But I'm gonna, have to pick one. So
Yeah.
still up in the air. Haven't decided.
Some of the great ones. I mean, there was a guy in the 70s, one of my big heroes. His name was Bronislaw Malinowski, and he was a silver medalist in 76 in the steeple, and then won in 80 in Moscow. He was from Poland. And while he was known as a steepler, the guy ran a 354 mile, 13:17 for 5,000, which was close to the world record. But then he went up to the 10,000. And I had buddies who do the steeple, and then they would go run the 10. And I'd go, because that was my specialty. And I go, you're out of your mind. And they go, oh, no, the 10's so easy after the steeple. Um, how do you compare the steeple event to the 1,500 and the 5,000? What do you think in terms of, because you've experienced all three, what do you think
Yeah, yeah.
of toughness?
I think the 15 and the mile, like to me, feels like an absolute sprint the whole time. And I think I
Mhm.
just tell myself it'll be over, like it'll be over quickly. So I'm just like, it'll be over soon, no matter how painful it is. The five, even though like I've run a few fives now, I still feel like I don't have a grip on the event. Like
Okay.
I've had like some 5Ks that like just feel like endless. And I'm
Yeah.
like, this is like mental gymnastics, like over and over. And then others that you kind of get into a rhythm and you kind of click off the laps and it gets hard eventually, like when it should. So I don't know. I feel like I've had a few different 5Ks now, but I'm hoping like I feel like the last one I did kind of was like, okay, like I didn't feel that good, but it still went well. Like I was chasing a high of this really good 5K I had last year where I had a huge PR and then
Uh,
I had a couple bad in between and then I just had one that was like, okay, this is how it's supposed to feel. This is really hard. Got it done. Wasn't anything special. Like ready to tackle another one. And I didn't really get a chance to do another like quote unquote fast 5K because
sure.
USA's ended up being rather tactical this year. So next year, hopefully I'll get in a fast 5K again and hopefully get a PR. But the steeple, I feel like the steeple, you have fatigue in a different way. Like you have to save something a little bit because you won't
Yeah.
make it over the barriers.
Yeah.
Like you can be dragging your feet at the end of a 15 or a 5, but you can't for the steeple and I mean that's when people fall and you trip on that last lap because they're
Oh,
just
yeah.
giving it everything they have. So it's really this like line that you're trying to toe with to not cross it, but you have to get right there. And that's true for every event, but I feel like it's really true for the steeple. Um, but I don't know. I feel like the steeple for me, I haven't PR'd in a few years. I've had some frustrations with it. Like I think it's so fun and I love it, but I still feel like I've struggled to really get myself in like race mode for a steeple as I can for the other events.
Mhm. Now,
That
when did
makes
you
sense.
graduate? Well, yeah, it makes sense. When did you graduate from college?
I graduated in 20, well, okay, I graduated from Yale in 2022.
Mhm.
I took a whole year off during COVID, so I should have graduated in 2021.
Yeah.
And then because of COVID, I had one outdoor season of eligibility, so I used it at the University of Washington.
Oh, no.
Um, so I graduated in 2022, but then I finished my eligibility in 2023, and then I went pro after that.
So you ran with Andy and
Yeah, in
Marissa?
Marisa, yeah.
Yeah, they're lovely. Yeah, I tease Andy because I've known him since he was 17. And Marissa didn't know. I told her a story about him doing the mile and the two at the NSF meet. Uh, it's now the big, Nike out indoor. So tell me about going from the college level then now to the professional level with Brooks Beast. How did that come about?
Yeah, I think I think I got really lucky in the way that I did a fifth year at University of Washington.
Huh?
Because the Yale team, like we didn't qualify for nationals, like we fell short of a lot of our team goals and um in a way that I love the team. Those are my best friends, and it was a really rewarding experience. But in terms of like really focusing on running, like going to University of Washington, they have built like an incredible program
Good.
that is basically a pro team. Like so many of the athletes I was
Yeah.
only there for 1 year and I have like so many friends that are about to go pro or are already pro, and it's like it really felt like a step in between going pro, like the perfect like step up to like I went there to run, like, and I was really serious about it. My classes were really, you know, I focused on practice and then I took the classes kind of thing, where I feel like as Yale, like, we really focused on academics and other extracurriculars as well. But that was just kind of the experience I had. I can't speak for everyone that's at UW or Yale, but I think I like love training under Marisa and with a team. So then when I also went pro the next year, it didn't feel as jarring. And I was already living in Seattle. So the
Yeah.
Beast, since they're based in Seattle, it felt like a really, really easy transition for me. And I think I was just really lucky in that regard. But yeah, I mean, similar to when you join a team in college or high school or any level, like I got to join a pro team of people that were all doing similar things to me and had, similar aspirations and goals. So you automatically get friends when you join the team. And like now those are some of my best friends. So it's really, really, it really wasn't that hard to join the Beast for me, and I found the transition pretty seamless.
What's it like running for Danny?
Running for Danny, I mean, I've had a lot of different coaches over the years because I had two when I was at Yale, and then I had
Sure.
Marisa, and then now I have me. So I think I haven't really had a coach for more than I think 3 years at a time in the last like so many years. So I think I'm pretty like open to when I get a new coach, like what they have to say and what they and I've been lucky because they've all been amazing and have all like really been considerate of what the previous coach has done in terms of my development in the long haul. So I can credit all of my coaches down to when I was younger for that. But running for Danny has been like awesome. And I think he's, right when we came in, he saw what I had been doing in the past and just he for me had a plan for like the long haul. It wasn't like, okay, first year or second year, like, we're gonna be doing all this stuff so that you can be like the absolute best this year. It's very much like still like we want you to be really, really good in a few years, and this is what we're gonna do to get there. And not to say you can't do great things in between, but like he's really kind of invested in the long game with me, which I feel like I'm so game for too, and now we're getting to the point where like I've been on the team for a couple years. Now we're taking some bigger steps that I think I wasn't willing to do a couple years ago, and he didn't want to like,
Yeah.
he didn't want to risk injury or anything like that. So I think and just that piece of Danny has been wonderful, but also I have like full trust in his training and what he says. And I think I like can't imagine not feeling that way about your coach. Like when Danny says something to me, like I like believe it wholeheartedly, and it's like
Sure.
really easy to do whatever he has for the training or whatever he thinks I can do racing. Like it's really easy to just kind of do it because I like know that he has that faith in me and I have that faith in him.
What is your training like now?
Well, right now I just exited my break, so
Okay.
I'm like just starting back up. But I think I'm gonna try to hit like 50, 35 miles this week. It's been like I started running last week, the week before. I'm slowly easing back into it to get ready for like fall training. But yeah, but I think just like generally like each year I've increased my volume a little more and intensity a little more. So I think that's like when I say like the long haul, I think that's one big piece of it is just like the actual volume that I do, but also just yeah, I don't know, keeping the love for the sport and like, not doing too much all at once. So
As you're building up, what's the workout that gives you confidence?
I love a long tempo. That's my bread and butter, I think. Those are just very easy to just look at on paper. You're like, I hit these miles in a row. I don't know if I'd say like a 4 mile tempo. I feel like I've done a lot of different like 3 or 4, and we also do some longer ones like 10 miles sometimes.
Yeah.
But just tempos in general, I find those like I also have a really bad memory. Like I have Strava, so I can always go back and look at workouts, but I'm not like, I can't be like, oh, last year I did this workout and I ran these times. Like I won't remember, which
Yeah.
is probably a good thing. Like it's harder for me to like directly compare to my own training, but tempos, those are easy to remember, right? So you're like, oh, I did that 4 mile tempo and I averaged 5:15 or it's like, I think those I can remember. So in terms of progressing, whenever I do a tempo, I feel like I can compare it to past tempos I've done.
Okay, now here's a question. What workout do you know that's good for you and that really helps you, but drives you a little nuts?
Um, like track sessions with like even mile I don't want to say mile repeats, but I'm like better at continuous stuff. So
Okay.
kind of anything, which we do a lot of interval training, but
Yeah.
more interval training is like hard for me. I think we've done some like maybe like K repeats or like yeah, I probably say K repeats because any like a 400 I can really muster. I'm like 400, no matter how many there are, it's just a 400. 600, I'm like, oh, you're kind of pushing it. Like those are getting a little long. But then once you get to like K and mile repeats, that's when I'm like, okay, I really have to focus. Like these are hard. So I think those are workouts that are really good for me that I like struggle a little bit more with. And I don't know what it is about it, if it's like I couldn't even tell you like the paces or what the
Oh,
rest
yeah.
is
Yeah, that's
like that. Yeah.
now do you do any road racing at all?
Yeah, a little bit. Well, last summer I did we're mainly track, but like last summer once USA's or the Olympic trials happened, I our like schedule's kind of up in the air and it's kind of what you want to do. And I did Wharf to Wharf, which was like a
Great. I
uh
love that race. That's one of my favorites.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was so much fun. We all my boyfriend is also a runner. He ran at Yale and then UW and he still runs. But he has like a real job now and then still does what I do, which is crazy. But we have a other college teammate that lives down there. And he was doing the race. He's a marathon runner now for and he was like, "Oh, you guys should come down and do this race." And we were like, "Yeah, sure." So I did it kind of just on a whim. I wasn't training for it or anything, and it went pretty well. So now I'm like, oh, maybe I kind of like the roads. And in some ways, it feels a little bit like cross country, right? You
Yeah,
know,
it
like,
does. Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
And that's a fun course too, because you've got some nice hills in there. And if you know how to
yeah.
take them, and then the I always remember one year especially, I was running against a guy who was a 355 miler, and I held him off until that last downhill. And
Oh, that's a good downhill at the end.
it's pretty awesome. And then you get a nice crowd there too. So it's a really
Yeah.
keeps it a lot of fun. Um, Now, did you do the half marathon with the Beast back in San Diego in the winter? Do you do have
No,
okay.
that was last year, the year before. It
Okay.
was,
Was it
yeah, yeah. No, I didn't do it. It was my first year on the team, and I
okay.
just we did the people that didn't do that did like time trials on the track. So I did like a 3K time trial. But then Allie who did it is like my main training partner, but then we kind of like diverge sometimes. She does the longer stuff and I go down in distance. So it is kind of funny. I think it gives us both confidence. I'm like, we've been doing the same training. She can, she can run the 3K time trial I just did. I'm not sure I could do the half mile or half marathon that she did, but I'd like to tell myself maybe I could have. So
Did would you has Danny talked to you about trying a 10,000, or is that way down the road?
oh, I don't know. I did after after my last 5K. I told Danny that I will never do the 10,000.
Ah, ah.
Um, which I might, that's a tough statement to say as a 5K runner right now. But I told him I'd rather, and I don't know if I still feel this way. No, I kind of do. I think I'd rather move up to the marathon more than I'd rather do the 10K.
It is really, it's like running a 10K on the roads, like you ran the six
Yeah.
or done is one thing. But when, I did 35 10Ks on the track, and when you know right away when you're on, but you also know right away when you're not on, and
Yeah.
23 laps to go, and it is not it's gonna be a grind, just is not the way you want to spend an afternoon. But
Oh my God.
I
I
used to
can't imagine. No. Yeah.
I would tease Garrett Heath about that, because Garrett,
Yeah.
you know, Garrett could have probably been, and Danny always believed that Garrett could have been one of his best 10,000 guys. But Garrett was such a good miler, and he was actually a really good 5,000 guy. But I don't think he really, and then he moved to the trails and he really dug that for a while too. But I watched him run a couple tens, and he could do it, but I don't think he really believed he could do it. In that event, you've got to, you
Oh,
know,
I bet.
you
Yeah.
can't just mail it in. When you're working on the steeple, how many times a week do you incorporate hurdles?
It's really varied depending on like over the years. So when I was at Yale, which was when I ran my senior year was when I ran my still PR and I got
Huh?
second at NCAAs. I did so many hurdles. Um I do like hurdle drills on like before workouts, and then usually on Tuesdays and Fridays, one of the workouts would incorporate hurdles.
Yeah.
And then on my easy run days, not every week, but most weeks once we got to track season, on like Tuesdays and Thursdays in the middle of my runs, I would do about like 15 minutes of just hurdling, but at like faster than an easy run pace, but not that fast either.
Okay.
Um, so I got like really comfortable hurdling kind of at every pace. Like, and you're not going like 6:30 pace in a race, but
Yeah.
I still got like it's easier to hurdle when you're going fast. And then once you start getting tired and you're slowing down in a race, like you're going a different pace. And I don't think I'm a naturally a good hurdle. Like some people don't need to practice, they've got it. Like, and
Yeah.
I don't have that. Like I needed the practice. So I think um it was really good that year. I got so sick of doing hurdles. Like I was so tired of it. Also because it's like a little isolating. Like I didn't have other teammates that were doing it with me. It was just me. Like and I was like, I just want to go on an easy run with my friends. Like I don't really want to be doing this. But, it paid off and got really comfortable hurdling and ran well. So I was probably doing hurdles at least 3 times a week, maybe four, once the track season started. And then at UW I did like a little bit less, like more like focus more on like hitting really good flat workouts
Hmm.
and then sort of incorporating hurdles. But probably still did them like twice a week. And then we've been like toying with it. Like last year I did that similarly with Danny and on the beast. Like I probably did hurdles like at least once a week, maybe twice a week, did drills. But I did less. But it was kind of up to me how much I wanted to do. So I think we're just kind of like experimenting with how much we want to do because I don't really want to miss like key parts of training
Yeah.
to do hurdles. Um, and then this year I didn't hurdle at all because I was focusing on the 5K. And then I ended up jumping in a steeple after hurdling. I think I did 2 workouts over hurdles,
Wow.
and then I did a steeple. So then I was like, okay, well, like that was kind of successful, and I didn't do very much steepling. I almost PR'd
Yeah.
versus like a few years ago when I did a ton of hurdling, and I don't know. So now I'm still like, I don't know what the answer is. Like, I think it really depends on the person. I'm like not really naturally good at the water jump either. I haven't really figured that one out.
Yeah.
I some years I've practiced more, some I haven't, and neither seem to like really make a difference. Like I doing the same kind of jumps. So I don't know. Yeah, so it's changed, but I haven't really figured out what works best for me. So
Yeah. Yeah. No, and I coached steeple and I taught my kids how to high hurdle, I got them to do the intermediates, but then I also would take the big barrier, put it over the long jump pit and have them
yeah,
practice on that because it's just, I've just seen so many races get derailed because of that.
yeah.
And what are you finding about the 5,000 that you like?
This last 5,000 like at USA's,
Mhm.
I actually really loved how tactical it ended up being.
Yeah.
Um, I thought that was really fun. And like it was like it really felt like racing. Like in that way that I said when you see the splits and all that stuff, but when you're in a tactical race, like all those go out the window and you're just racing. And we were kind of jogging for a while and then it ends up being like a sprint and stuff. But it was like really fun to be in a tactical race. And that's not like unique necessarily to the 5K, but I guess it's just unique to championship racing. And I think I hadn't done that in a while. So that was really fun. But I think the 5K has sort of chosen me, like I'm not gonna run a good 800. I did get a good mile and 15 in, so maybe, but the 5K, the next logical thing is for me to be a 5K runner. So I think that's where we're at with it. Like I think I could run a really good 5K. We haven't put it together yet, but I don't know. I'm good at the tempos. That's kind of my strong suit. So I've got like some speed, so hopefully I can hold my own in those tactical races.
Yeah.
So we're thinking the 5K might be a good combo for me. I love the 3K distance. I think that's why I also like the steeple.
It's
I
a
think
fun
3K
distance.
is
Yeah.
like I think 3K is my sweet spot, but you don't run it outdoors. So, the
Yeah.
next thing is kind of the 5K. So I think that's when I'm still like I'm not quite sure yet how to run a good 5. Like I haven't figured out the 5K, but I think I'm hoping, I will over the next couple years.
Yeah, I think it's a different mental place, it's like, and um, do you think you can break 4 minutes for the 1500? Because you've run 4:04.
Well, I mean, I just ran 404, but yeah, I do. I think I have that naive confidence that I can
That's
can do
cool. That's
it.
cool. So, and when you talk about a good 5,000, are you talking sub 15?
I think right now that's that well, sub 1450. Like, I don't
Yeah,
know.
that's pretty awesome.
Shoot big. That's my like goal this next year or whatever the world standard is. Like I want to be there running under that. And I think um yeah, I think I just need to, take a few more cracks at it.
Well, with the 1500 you've done, the 3000 you've done, and now the 5,000, I think, yeah, uh, you and Danny have found a great collaboration and fun thing to work. I want to ask you, so you've survived now 35 minutes. You doing okay?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay. I want to ask you 5 questions that I'm going to pull out as clips, um, more on kind of training tips. So I want you to picture yourself in a room with high school and college young women who are really into running, but they all, they're still learning like we all are, right? Um, so first question I want to ask you about, because Danny shared this with me when we talked a couple weeks ago. When you guys do your really easy days, you do them really easy. Explain how you do a recovery day.
Yeah, I think Mondays and Thursdays for me are pretty much recovery days. I think some people on our team take Thursdays a little bit less of a recovery day, mainly
Sure.
Monday post long run. But it's really like just feeling like comfortable at the pace you're going. Like you might be tired, so slow down. And I think for me, like that's like running like 7:15 to like 7:45 pace. And like
Okay.
even that's a decent range, but like I don't know, or not even looking at what pace you're running, I think. And then sometimes we start the run with the guys on our team and they're starting at like 7-minute pace and we'll run with them for a little bit and then I'll be like, nah, I don't actually want to run this fast. Like, let's slow down. And sometimes they'll go slower with us. Like they'll go like 7:30 pace. And so not often. It's harder to convince them to slow down. But but yeah, I think it's just really not every run needs to be hard. Like you're just getting miles in the legs and yeah, don't read into it too much. Just go out for a run and kind of listen to your body a little bit more because there's other times where you do need to push yourself, but it's not really for a recovery run.
When you're doing a tempo workout, so this is my second question for a tip. When you're doing tempo workouts, and so say for example, Danny says, okay, your 5K race pace right now, you're running, 450s. But for tempo, and he told me he adds like 25 seconds on. So that would mean you're doing tempo at about 5:15. How do you feel during a tempo run?
I think sometimes when you start or when I start a tempo, like it takes me like a little bit to get into it. Sometimes I start and I'm like, I'm not sure I'm gonna really be feeling good doing this. And
Yeah,
and and a lot of times he'll have us start like a little bit slower and then get faster. And maybe that's why, because it takes a second to get into it. But I think it's like trying to like get into a rhythm and also know that like you might not feel good right away, but it doesn't mean that you won't feel a little better once you get into it. So I think that's what I tell myself. I'm like, okay, like just try to like, just like have good form, stay relaxed for the first bit. It'll get hard eventually, and then you change your mindset to like you're on pace, like let's keep it, like let's focus in. But I think, and it depends. Sometimes you'll feel great and sometimes you won't, but it's just like, yeah, I don't know. It's like knowing that you don't need to like push yourself too early in it. Like you might start a little slower and then get into it. And sometimes if you don't feel good at all and you run a certain pace, you get the effort out of it. So I don't know. I think it really depends on also listening to your body, but knowing that like you can get into a rhythm eventually and just knock off the like minutes and the miles, but just like kind of staying focused on like having good breathing and staying calm and just like letting the legs turn over.
sure. What is talk to me about your interval days. How do you get yourself in the right place to do an interval workout?
I think I get really prepared for them to be really hard. And
Okay.
I think same for tempo. Like I guess I didn't mention that part. Like tempos excite me in a way that interval doesn't work doesn't. So I think I'm like, oh, this is gonna be really hard, but I'm kind of excited to see what I can do in a tempo. And then interval things, like I don't have that same sentiment. I'm like, oh, this is gonna be really hard and I just need to get it done. And I think that's like the mindset I have. It's just like whatever it is, let's like one thing at a time. It's easy to be like, I have 5 by K, or I have like 2 by mile, and then 8 by 400, and like just like thinking of the overwhelming number of things you have, but just like one thing at a time. Like, you might not make it to the whole workout if it's a really, really hard workout, but like just make it through the next rep. And then you tell that to yourself again. And after that, you're like, oh, just one more, and just lie to yourself a little. And then eventually it gets done.
Do you do 2 a day workouts or
No,
more?
we don't. And I actually never have, never in
That's
at any
cool.
level.
I
Yeah.
like that. Well, how long do your workouts typically last when you're having a session?
How long do they last? Is it what you asked? Well, usually on like a workout day, I'll get like between 11 and 13 miles, like total, including warm up and cool down.
Okay.
And then it really varies, like depending on the season. Like in this like fall, we'll do a lot of tempos and hill repeats. And hill repeats will be like shorter days, like we won't get as much mileage. But usually we'll get like, I don't know, at least like probably like 4 miles of work, including jog, but usually more than that too, I think. But it's very variable depending on the time of year, and if it's just a straight tempo, you're gonna have a higher mileage day. So, but they feel pretty long, like they're never too short.
What's your long run philosophy?
Oh, long run, I have done like a lot of not even different things over the years, but long run's something I've always done. Even when I was in high school, like I ran like 35 miles a week, but I did a 10-mile long run. And I
Okay.
did a 10-mile long run up until I went to UW. And then I started doing like 11 miles. And then I got to be a beast and I started doing 12 to 13. And now I do 13 to 14. So slowly we're getting it longer. And I really like long run. I don't treat it like a workout, but it's not quite an easy run. It's like somewhere in between. Like
Okay.
you want it to be good, but it's also just like getting the miles in. And I know for some people, like long run is a workout and they hit a certain pace and all that, but like generally for us, it's been like most weeks, it's just like this is the mileage, and kind of like run at a decent pace. Don't run, quote unquote too slow, but like also because it just takes a long time. If you run too slow, you kind of wanted to get it done. But also, like usually it's not like trying to hit a certain pace. Like we did this summer, have a few long runs where we were trying to like cut it down by the end to like 650 or 640 or so. But and sometimes we naturally do that, you get into a rhythm, and like I said, almost with tempos, like once you get going, like you don't feel as bad as you thought you felt and you're clicking off the miles. But long runs I think are really, really important. I think it's just like good to be out there for a long time. Especially people that might not do as much mileage throughout the week, like really hitting a good long run and like getting it done, I think is good.
What is your training shoe for hard days?
For hard days, I wear the Hyperion Elite fives, like that's the main like flat that Brooks has out right now. I love that shoe's great for like tempos and pretty much all interval stuff I do on the track. Like those are kind of my go-to shoes for all the above.
What's your long and easy day shoe?
I switch off shoes actually. I don't necessarily have like one I always wear. But right now I'm wearing the Ghost Breeze. But
Okay.
I really like the glycerins too. I think
Cool.
I don't know. I go back and forth. I have two, and then I just like look in the closet the day of, and I'm like, which one do I want to wear today? I think like the Ghost Max threes are a little more like squishy, so sometimes I'm feeling that, and I don't know. So I think I'm lucky. Like Brooks makes amazing shoes, and
Yeah.
and I've got like feet that aren't too angry at me, so it's really like kind of what I'm feeling for that run is like the shoe that I want to wear.
What about track spikes? What are you in?
Oh, I'm in our Hyperion Elite spikes, the long distance ones. I actually haven't tried the mid D ones. I think maybe if I do some more 15s, I can try them out. But I'm pretty tried and true with the long distance ones.
Do you have an athlete that you look up to?
Not like one in particular. I think I like try to pull from a lot of different athletes. Over the years, it's, been easy growing up in America, looking at all the like women that have paved the path, like Jenny Simpson. And of course, when I started getting into steeple, like Emma Coburn and Crony Frericks, like those are, and still are like idols to me. So I think, um, I don't know, not like one in particular, but just like looking at a lot of different women and men like across the board. But yeah, and also my parents, they both ran, so it's cool to hear about their experiences and
Cool.
and what they got out of the sport. So yeah.
Anything you're reading right now that you're enjoying?
I'm I'm actually not much of a reader. I'm more of a watch television. But here's the book I'm reading right now. It's because it's right next to me. Um, so Clara and the Sun. It's a
Oh, cool.
fiction. Yeah, yeah,
Nice,
yeah. So
nice.
I
What?
I really don't want to butcher the author's name, but it's really good so far. So I'm almost done with it.
So, what is your favorite show on Netflix?
Well, right now I'm watching Wednesday. So
Oh, I love. Is that the new? Are you watching the?
yeah, the new season.
Is it, you
It's
enjoying it?
not Yeah, yeah, I am enjoying it. I don't know what I'd say my favorite show is, but yeah, well, I don't even watch I watch TV more than I read, but I don't even watch TV that much. So
Yeah. Yeah.
but I'm really into Halloween. So anything
Cool.
Halloween, like I'm game. So Wednesday like is the perfect show for me to watch right now. So
So, do you like the really gruesome horror movies?
yes, but not like I'm not like so like I need to watch those. I just like I like them. Like I like just Halloween as a time, and I
Oh,
like
oh yeah, it keeps it fun.
decorations and like where in Florida they have like at Universal Studios they have like Halloween Horror Nights, which are like really incredible haunted houses, and like my parents and I are going this weekend because
Oh,
like
cool.
I love that stuff. So yeah, happy October 1st.
Well, Kayley DeLay, you have survived, and you've done a great job. Thank you
Oh, thank
so much.
you. Oh,
And
great.
now, are you going to run indoors this upcoming season?
Yes, yeah, yeah, yeah. That's the plan. The plan is also to do cross country in December.
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah,
Yeah.
that is going, I think I'm really excited about the World Cross being here in the US. And it's giving the cross country season a little more significance too.
Yeah.
It,
No,
it,
totally. I'm upset that it's a 10K,
yeah.
but we'll give it a go, It's a little long for me, but
Well, good luck.
oh,
Uh,
thank you.
Kaylee DeLay, you have survived your interview number 4 on the Brooks on Running collaboration that you're doing with Run Blog Run. Thank you so much. Thanks for sharing your running history and providing some tips. We'll be watching for you at the World Cross. We'll also be watching for you at the U.S. Nationals and indoors this season.
Oh, thank you. Thanks for
Thank you.
talking. I enjoyed it.
Thank you so much. This is
Well,
Larry
sweet.
with Run Blog Run. This is Brooks on Running. We just interviewed Kaylee DeLay with the Brooks Beast.